Okay, the hour being 7 o'clock, I'm going to call this meeting to order. If we could have everybody in the back row lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody in the front row. Okay, first done is the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Councilman Shuttrin.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second. Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Shuttrin, seconded by Councilman Zimmerman. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 proclamations. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read them all. And because generally we come down and take pictures with everybody, so I'm going to read them all and then we'll just call the groups up one at a time and we'll take pictures and you'll get the exposure and certainly the recognition that everybody deserves. Does that sound okay? Okay. So who's here for never mind, I know. Arbor Day. Whereas Arbor Day has contributed to the public awareness of the importance of trees, and whereas the National Arbor Day Foundation has been a leader in the promotion of education and the importance of planting of trees in communities across America, and whereas trees provide city dwellers with many comforts and pleasures such as providing shade, cleaning our air, providing beauty, buffering harsh urban sounds, providing shelter from winter winds, providing shelter for wildlife, and increasing property values. And whereas an official Arbor Day proclamation is one of the 4 requirements by the National Arbor Day Foundation for a community to meet certification as Tree City USA, Green River has been recognized by the Arbor Day Foundation as Tree City USA for the past 38 years. Now, therefore, be resolved that I, Pete Rest, Mayor of the City of Green River, do hereby designate Thursday, May 19th as Arbor Day in the City of Green River and encourage all citizens to actively support tree planting and protection as a means to improve our community and the quality of our lives. The City of Green River will be distributing free sapling trees at the Expedition Island 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. Do you want to say anything, Brad? Okay. Okay. Okay, this is a long one. Building Safety Month Proclamation. Whereas the City of Green River, Wyoming is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on the safety and economic value of the homes, buildings, and infrastructure that serve our citizens, both in everyday life and when natural disasters strike. And whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers and plumbers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, and federal officials that are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in the buildings where we live, work, and play. And whereas these modern building codes include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about critical role of communities largely unknown protectors of public safety, our local code officials, who assure us of safe, sustainable, and affordable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. Whereas Safety for All, Building Codes in Action, the theme of Building Safety Month 2022, encouraged all of us to raise awareness about planning for safe and sustainable construction, career opportunities in building safety, understanding disaster mitigation, energy conservation, and creating a safe and abundant water supply to all of our benefit. And whereas each year in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local and state building departments, fire prevention bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and property. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Pete Russ, do hereby declare May as Building Safety Month. Wow. So is there, oh, never mind. Yeah. You want to say anything, Ken? All right, thank you. Okay, National Public Works Week Proclamation. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and the well-being of people in the city of Green River. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public work professionals who are engineers, operators, technicians, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. Whereas it is in the public interest of the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the city of Green River to gain knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding in the importance of public works, first responders, and public works programs in their respective communities. Whereas the year 2022 marks the 62nd annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Pete Russ, do hereby designate the week May 15th through May 21st, 2022 as National Public Works Week. And I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in acknowledgement of our public works professionals, engineers, operators, technicians, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, our safety, and our quality of life. Mark, where's Mark? Did you want to say anything, Mark?
Not really, but I will. Just thank you, Mayor. I know that our public works folks really appreciate that, and I know I appreciate the work that they do, and thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And of course, the most people in the room, I missed that resolution, but National Police Week Proclamation. Whereas the Congress and the President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which it falls as Police Week. And whereas the members of the Green River Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and the freedoms of the citizens of Green River, whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, the duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our police department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. Whereas the Green River Police Department has grown to be a modern and scientific law enforcement agency, which unceasingly provides a vital public service. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Pete Russ, call upon all citizens to observe the week of May 15th through May 21st as Police Week by commemorating and thanking our police officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities and in doing so have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. Oh, here's one for me. Older Americans Month. Whereas Green River includes a growing number of older Americans who have built resilience and strength over their lives through successes and difficulties. And whereas Green River communities benefits when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds are included and encouraged to share their success and stories of resilience. And whereas Green River recognizes our need to create a community that provides the services and support older Americans need to thrive and live independently for as long as possible. Whereas Green River can work to build an even better community for our older residents by planning programs that encourage independence, ensuring activities are responsive to individual needs and preferences, and increasing access to services that support aging in place. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Pete Rest, do hereby proclaim May 2022 to be Older Americans Month, and I urge every resident to recognize the contributions of our older citizens, help to create an inclusive society, and join efforts to support older Americans' choices about how they age in their communities. One more, and then we will have everybody come up one at a time, okay? National Economic Development Week Proclamation. Whereas the International Economic Development Council is the largest professional economic development organization dedicated to serving economic developers. And whereas the International Economic Development Council provides leadership and excellence in economic development for communities, members, and partners through conferences, training courses, advisory services, and research, in-depth publications, public policy advocacy, and initiatives such as the Accredited Economic Development Organization Program and the Certified Economic Developer Designation. And whereas economic developers promote economic well-being and quality of life for their communities by creating, retaining, and expanding jobs that facilitate growth, enhance wealth, and provide a stable tax base. And whereas economic developers stimulate and incubate entrepreneurism in order to help establish the next generation of new businesses, which is the hallmark of the American economy. Whereas economic developers are engaged in a wide variety of settings, including rural and urban, local, state, and provincial, and federal governments, public-private partnerships, chambers of commerce, universities, and a variety of other institutions. Whereas economic developers attract and retain high-quality jobs, develop vibrant communities, and improve the quality of life in their regions. Whereas economic developers work in the city of Green River within the state of Wyoming. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Pete Rest, and the City Council of Green River do hereby recognize May 9th through the 13th as National Economic Development Week in the city of Green River, and remind individuals of the importance of this community celebration, which supports expanding career opportunities and improving quality of life. Did anybody want to speak to this?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Kayla McDonald. I am the Economic Development Specialist for our Economic Development Coalition. I'd like to thank you for proclaiming Economic Development Week next week. Before you, we have a schedule of events. We are excited to have those events back and on our agendas for this year. We haven't been able to due to COVID, so we encourage you to join us on any of those events. They are all free. We encourage our business community to join us as well. A lot of education pieces and just celebrating Economic Development Week. Thank you.
Thank you. Did anybody want to, for the National Police Week proclamation, does anybody want to address the council? You sure? Okay. Okay, so we're going to do this one at a time. Okay, we're going to start with Arbor Day. We'll run through this fairly quickly. Yeah. I got you. Building Safety Month proclamation. National Police Week proclamation. Oh. You guys take front. On one knee. Congratulations, you guys. Thanks for all you do, you guys. Public Works. Mark. Third one. That's what I was watching. Older Americans. Yeah. There we go. National Economic Development.
First one for
I can figure this one out. That was a lot of big words. Okay, item 5 on the agenda is citizen requests and other communications. Are there any citizens in the audience that are not on the agenda or not speaking to an agenda item that want to address the council? Okay, seeing none, I'm moving on. Board and committee appointments. Item A, appointment of Ashley Mullaney to the Green River Historic Preservation Commission. Ashley has volunteered to serve on the Green River Historic Preservation Commission. Do we have a motion?
Mayor, I'll motion to approve Ashley Mullaney. Ooh. To be, I move to confirm the mayor's appointment of Ashley Mullaney to the Green River Historic Preservation Commission beginning May 3rd, 2022.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Bushman, seconded by Councilman Kilpack. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, appointment of Ashley Mullaney to the URA Main Street Board. Ashley has volunteered to serve also on the URA Main Street Board. She has a downtown business and is a homeowner. She is interested in the growth of downtown and she has 15 years experience in marketing, public relations, advertising, and event planning. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Councilman Berg.
I move to confirm the mayor's appointment of Ashley Mullaney to the URA Main Street Board for a 5-year term beginning May 3rd, 2022 and expiring April 30th, 2027.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilman Berg, seconded by Councilwoman Bushman. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item 7, resolutions. Consideration of a resolution to approve 3 subdivision variances within the proposed Seneschal Addition subdivision, a re-subdivision of tracts B and C of the Lincoln School Addition. Amy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So we're here for the Seneschal Edition. Applicant and his engineer are here. Let me see if the clicker works. Oh, look at it. All right, so tract B and C for the Lincoln School Edition. It's a re-subdivision. And then this just kind of goes through the basic for it's R2, it's detached single dwelling. Minimum lot size here are 6,000 square feet and minimum lot width 60 foot. So at the April 13th Planning and Zoning meeting, the commission unanimously approved this preliminary plat that was dated 3/31 with the following conditions. The main one that we're here tonight for is the approval being contingent on the council's approval of the subdivision variances. Originally, they had proposed 4 subdivision variances, but on 4/15/2022, after the planning and zoning meeting, the applicant wanted to be proactive and show good faith and address some of the concerns that were discussed at that planning and zoning meeting, which resulted in increasing the cul-de-sac radius from 50 feet to 60 feet. So it eliminated one of those subdivision variances for the cul-de-sac radius. We're here tonight for 3 subdivision variance requests. First one being street right-of-way width, street center radii and curve, and lot depth to front ratio. Whoops. I just kind of tried to zoom in on what the commission approved here. Okay, the first one is for the street right-of-way width. Each local street shall have a 60-foot right-of-way width with a minimum pavement width of 37 feet. The applicant has proposed to have a 50-foot right-of-way width while still maintaining a minimum pavement width of 37 feet back of curb to back of curb. And staff recommends that the 50% right-of-way or the 50-foot right-of-way width is acceptable as it applies to the subdivision. The second variance that they're requesting is the street center radii, which is on the bottom, and I'll go to the next page here, which is a little bit larger, right there around lot 8 and 9, that curve there. Street center line radii for local streets shall be a minimum of 100 feet at all curves with a deflection of more than 10 degrees. They're proposing that the southern curve on the proposed memory lane has a proposed radius of 80 feet due to topographical constraints, and which is acceptable by the city engineer in the case of this subdivision. The last one, subdivision 3, is for the lot depth to front ratio. The depth to front lots shall not exceed 2.5 to 1. So several of the lots proposed, and this is kind of an example of it, but several of the lots proposed exceed that due to topographical constraints and to alleviate any unnecessary remnants of land, which staff recommends is acceptable and it applies to this subdivision. We'll kind of go back to that, and that's just a chart. On the far right there is the needs, the variance that they're basically requesting for each of those lots. And that is all I have. The applicant's here if you have any further questions or any questions. for me.
So Amy, just to be clear, the Planning and Zoning Commission, the city engineer and yourself and any other staff that were involved all recommend the approval of all three of these variances. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Council, you have any questions? Councilman Kilpack?
I just have a comment to make on this, and that is, I attended that meeting along with George Jost. We were both there at the P and Z meeting. And for your information as a council, the P and Z group was very thorough. They asked many, many questions, and they did a very good job in making these recommendations. And so it was done very professionally. And Amy gave us very good information. And so for your information, they did a good job. And so whatever your pleasure is up to you, but it was very good and they handled it very well.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments?
I just had a quick comment also.
Go ahead, George.
This afternoon, I come down at lunch hour and I cornered Amy. Asked her about 100 questions and she answered them all. And they were really good answers. She took her time. She knew what I was thinking and what I was trying to find out. It was very helpful and I appreciated that a lot.
Thanks, George.
So thank you.
Go ahead, Councilman Butch.
I'm sure this is an easy question, but I just have to ask. Are the curbs ADA compliant in that neighborhood? Do we have ADA?
We'll let Mark answer that one for you.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mark Westensco, Public Works Director. A little bit on the next steps for this subdivision. Once the preliminary plat is approved, the applicant and their engineer will get to work and actually doing the hard design on the subdivision, the road grades, all the site grading, water, sewer, all the detailed engineering design. Through that process, they will design the ADA compliance and the appropriate areas for the intersections. That is something that we look for when we review those construction drawings.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from council, comments? Okay, let's take these one at a time. Subdivision variance 1, street right of way width. What's your pleasure? Oh, okay, never mind. I see the motion. I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Go ahead, Councilman Kilpack.
I move to approve the resolution granting the 3 subdivision variances as requested for the purpose for the proposed She-Hall
Seneschal.
Seneschal
Oh.
addition subdivision, a 29 lot residential subdivision within the city of Green River, Wyoming.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Kilpack, seconded by Councilman Zimmerman. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Very good, Joe. You bet. Item A, consideration to authorize the submission of 3 state Homeland Security Program grant applications to the Wyoming Office of Homeland Security.
Mayor and Council, Ryan Rust, Government Affairs and Grants. Before you is a request for permission to submit 3 state Homeland Security grant applications to the Wyoming Department of Homeland Security. This is a grant program we've been successful with in the past. It's 100% federal funds. It requires no match from the city of Green River, with the goal of enhancing the ability of governments and nonprofits to prevent, protect against, respond to, and recover from terrorist acts. So this year, we're proposing 3 applications, 2 for Public Works and 1 for Parks and Recreation. The first is a request for $34,000 to purchase generators and transfer switches to be placed at 2 water tanks in a remote site that will allow the system to continue to operate in the event of an extended power outage without having to send staff to those locations. The second is for $100,000 to purchase a portable variable voltage generator to replace a current unit that isn't compatible with some new high efficiency motors that we've installed in a few of our pump stations. Can also be used elsewhere in our water and wastewater system and other locations in the city if needed. And then the third proposed application is for the installation of a security camera system at the recreation center. And we're looking at $95,000 request for that. Again, this is just a request for permission to apply. And with that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
Anybody have any questions for Ryan? Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Councilman Chetron, sorry.
I move to authorize the submission of 3 state Homeland Security Program grant applications to the Wyoming Office of Homeland Security.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Chetron, seconded by Councilman Bushman. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, consideration to approve a lease with 92 residents for the lease of city property for horse corrals. The city currently leases property to 92 residents for horse corrals. The prior 25-year lease expired April 2022. The attached lease is proposed to continue the leasing of the property for horse corrals for an annual lease of $200 per corral for a duration of 10 years. The lease has a sunset date of May 31st, 2032. Do we have a motion? And then we'll, of course, have discussion if anybody wants to. Councilman Kilpack?
I move to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a lease for city properties for horse corrals to the list of residents as attached, entered into minutes for record for the annual amount of $200 per corral, also allowing 4 horses a corral as it has been for the past 25 years for a sum for per corral for a term sunsetting on May 31st, 2032. The governing body also hereby finds that the commitment of the lease for the said properties specified for the term of years specified has been determined to constitute a significant benefit and advantage for the city and the public, in that such the lease has a significant benefit economically to the city in the absence of an extended term.
And I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Kilpack and seconded by Councilman Jost. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Wow. Item C, consideration to approve an agreement with Sweetwater County to provide fire services. For the last, you want me to read this? You want to read it?
Mayor, council, Bill Robinson, co-chief Green River Fire Department. This agreement, which has already been approved by Galen, it covers what the Green River Fire Department has been doing for years. It has already passed the commissioner meeting. Myself and Larry, as well as the other chiefs in the county, along with the county commissioners and newly appointed fire warden Jim Zimmerman, have met and will continue to meet throughout this wildland season and discuss pros and cons to work out. If there's any kinks, anything that arises, we'll take care of it at that time. The GRFD will continue the same coverage as they have always done and continue covering the west of the county, as well as to assist district, BLM, Forest Service, and other areas when called upon. This contract just lines it out for financial coverage to be provided to the city for services already being rendered, as well as complement the county on saving money for the upcoming years. This contract is scheduled for expiration this December, and then we'll likely move into an 18th month contract of the same, and so on from there, I think annually at that point, I believe. As you know, the Green River Fire Department firefighters have already completed all their red card certs, and they're ready to continue the coverage that they've already done. We did have 2 questions that's already come up. What would happen if I'm hitting this question right, what would happen with the coverage of the city while we're out taking care of the county? The same coverage that we've always done. We've always responded to the same areas that we're being asked to now. We've always split up what we can and continue to keep firefighters in town. So the coverage for the city is going to remain the same. We're not looking to change anything there. Next question is, wording in the contract says roughly the chiefs can turn down a response. We wouldn't likely turn one down. Keep in mind, we're volunteers. All of our department, but Larry and I are volunteers. And so sometimes we have more, sometimes we have less. More populated areas are going to be our main area of concern. Of course, it comes to safety and life first. And if it's something unsafe, we're not going to send our guys into it. And that's where it's going to go. So we may rely more on certain areas, the BLM or something like that, if we have to protect down people where it's more populated. Any further questions?
That makes sense. Does anybody have any questions for Bill? Go ahead.
Due to my newly assigned position with the county, I will have some oversight in this, and so I think it best to recuse myself.
Jolly good. Anybody else have any? Go ahead, George.
Question. And you pretty well covered everything. A citizen called me, probably called you, I don't know. But he was concerned about coverage. If everything, all your equipment gets spread out around town and the volunteers are all gone, how will you cover that? That was the question he had.
Same way. Yeah. So it'll be the same coverage as we always do. We keep a certain amount of engines in town. We keep a certain amount ready to go out and crews ready to go out in different, depends on what the call is.
So you don't take everybody out. If they all get tired, how do you replace them and stuff? If they're on a long call, fire call, or a forest fire or something, rangeland fire. If they all get wore out, how do you replace them? Do you just?
So we don't send our whole department out at one time. So we try to swap our guys in and out. Plus that's where we rely heavily on BLM and Forest Service. They'll help out. A lot of volunteers around. So we can make a dollar stretch a long way.
Okay. Thanks, then.
You bet.
Appreciate the answer.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Do we have a motion?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
I move to approve and authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with the Sweetwater County to provide fire protection services within the county.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Shatron, seconded by Councilman Kilpack. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. It's unanimous. Item D, thank you, Bill. Item D, consideration to approve a conflict of interest policy for the use of federal financial assistance. And since the word financial is in this, here's Chris.
Mayor and council, actually, I think I drew the short straw instead of financial, but one of the ARA funds that we all received and we have been receiving and trying to utilize, one of the policies that is a specific requirement is that a conflict of interest policy. While the city has a conflict of interest policy, it's not one in specific that the federal government wants. So we're tightening up this policy. This specific policy that we're going to have you guys sign and give Reed the authority to enforce tonight will only be solely for federal grants. We are a small community and some of this might raise some concerns if we did this, but this is only for where we are utilizing federal grant funds in that nature.
Okay, I think that's self-explanatory. Anybody have any questions, Chris? Okay, we'll have a motion. Councilman Zimmerman.
I move to approve administrative policy number 93, conflict of interest policy in accordance with the use of federal financial assistance, and allow the city administrator to sign and execute the provisions of the policy.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Zimmerman, seconded by Councilman Shatron. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Item, excuse me, item E, consideration of an agreement with Munico LLC for the management of the city's code of ordinances.
Mayor and council, I'm back. We've used Municode for probably the last, since I've been here 20 plus years, to codify and code and keep our ordinances in legal order. Also to publish and distribute them. We've went from paper copies now. We used to do 60 some odd paper copies that we get out to people to where it's all online now, and they manage that for us. We're getting caught up in the software as a service program with them. They are moving to an annual subscription base instead of used to be how we'd pay for it. Is if we codified new ordinances, we'd put them in. They've taken our usage over the last 3 or 5 years, said that's averaged it out, and that's what's going to be your annual fee for every year. With that, they've given us an extension to offer, and I do have to apologize giving you this 5-mile long motion again, and I'm sure you'll have Councilman Kilpack read for us. They'll give us a 20% discount for entering into this agreement for 3 years. Like I said, we've used them for a long time. We don't have any intentions to trade, so I thought it was the best use of the city's funds to enter into that long-term agreement.
Okay, anybody have any questions of Chris? Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Councilman Chetron.
I move to approve an agreement with Municode LLC for the codification of the online hosting for the City of Green River ordinances. Allow the mayor to sign the agreement and the governing body hereby finding that the commitment of Municode LLC to provide the maintenance services specified for the term of years specified has been determined to constitute a significant benefit and advantage to the city and the public, in that such services are not readily or economically available to the city in the absence of an extended term contract.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Chetron, seconded by Councilwoman Bushman. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Need a motion on the consent agenda.
Mayor,
Councilman Chetron.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Mr. City Administrator.
Mayor, council, thank you. First of all, I just wanted to just appreciate the governing body allowing the staff to be able to go after a lot of these grants. As Ryan had got up and talked about, these are $0 ones, and having Ryan or that position on our staff has really made a big benefit. It's going to continue to leap us forward in this time where we're struggling on revenues. So we've been very active in that. Staff has worked with Ryan, as you see in this one, and across other partnering agencies as we work with the Greenbelt Task Force or on the diversion dam or whatever it might be. So appreciate that. We'll continue to move that forward. It's been a very busy time for that, but we continue. Appreciate your support of getting those. I'll have an update on our weekly update. I apologize not getting that to you this afternoon before the meeting. It'll be in the morning. We had a couple people that were gone, but we've had a ton of meetings with a lot of stuff going on. One of those updates, just for you, we're working with our engineering or with our public works on that side. We had sent out information regarding with the river and stuff and with the treatment plant and the facility. We're continuing to move forward. They've done a really good job of looking at assets that we can go out and get to see what may be happening down there. And we don't know at this point in time. But we are addressing it. So I'll continue to get that update on that. But Mark's and his team have been working well with EPA and DEQ and with the state and with other states, trying to see what we can get done to make sure to see what that issue is. So, and also, if you haven't been up to the high school to see the Industrial Arts Fair, I would highly recommend doing that. I like going up there just for personal reasons or whatever, but that's probably the most projects I've ever seen. So a lot of good work. So the industrial arts aspect of what we do and the students that we have here, it's worth taking some time to go look at that. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Reed. How long is that? Is that all week, or do you know?
I know it goes through tomorrow.
Okay.
Because they just put all the ribbons on that stuff tonight and stuff.
Okay.
So
Well, I didn't know what was going on, but if you haven't gone, you got to go. It's great. There's some talented kids. Galen.
I have no report tonight, Your Honor.
Well, thank you, Galen. Councilman Zimmerman.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to say that I'm always proud of our fire department, our police department, and our staff. We have a wonderful staff. So that's what makes these meetings go so smoothly. And we're proud of our staff and all of our support in this county, in this city. Sorry. I'm also proud of Councilman Kilpack. Being an older American, he's up to almost 8 o'clock tonight. So we're awfully proud of him for that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Zimmerman. Councilman Berg.
I have nothing tonight, Mayor.
Councilman Chetron.
I have no report this evening.
Councilwoman Bushman.
Yeah, I have some. Sorry. So I just want to remind everyone the URA fundraiser for this Saturday for at the Expedition Island. So it's Extreme Bingo. So I'm going to be attending to participate and support. Also, I just want to mention on May 14th, I was listed McKinsey Home at Washington Square. There's going to be a meeting at the island on May 14th from 10 to noon for input from the community of their thoughts and comments of actually repurpose or fixing up that place. I'm sorry. The Washington Elementary School. I'm like way off here. So hopefully a bunch of us can attend and throw our ideas in there and help them renovate that. And then Mother's Day is Sunday. So happy Mother's Day to everyone. Well, not the guys. Sorry.
Some are kind of. Thanks, Jerry. Councilman Jost. Thank you, George. Councilman Kilpack.
I just want to echo what Jim Zimmerman said. He's the one that ended up with the plaque. And then he give it to the mayor and the mayor handed it back. Anyway, on a serious note, as I did mention before, I did mention how good our P&Z group is and how good Amy is in bringing them up to giving them all the information that they need to make a good sound decision. And they do a great job. Thank you for that. And then one other thing that's really important for all of us to, that I need to bring you kind of up to snuff with it, and that is our 6 penny. And we've met 2 or 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I don't remember how many, but a lot. It's going really well. And I had them and Ryan put in, I don't know if you put it in their box or emailed it to them, but the results of the committee of the survey. And just to highlight a couple of things in the survey to let you know it's going on a positive direction and it's looking good. We still have a lot of work to do though. And from the survey, if I remember the number just right, there was 38% of the people that took the survey that was in support of a 6 penny. And then there was 25% on top of that, that with more information is in support of a 6 penny. And so that would put us over the 50%. So it looks like we're going well. Don't hold me to those numbers because I can't open for some reason, my phone's not working, Chris. I don't know why it's not picking anything up, but it's not, so I can't give you that. And as well as that as well, they've now want more information from the public. And I think this is the last meeting that they're going to have. And I don't remember the date. What's the date, Ryan? Okay, next Wednesday at 5:30 till 7 a.m. at the college. It's an open forum public meeting for anybody in the county that would like to voice their opinion or their concerns about the 6 penny. And that's at the Rock Springs College in room 3650. And so it will be there starting at 5:30. And so everybody's invited. And if those of us that are on the council for Rock Springs or Green River or any of the communities would like to go to that meeting and make any comments or answer any questions, you're certainly welcome to go. So That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Kilpack. And I'm just going to end with May 21st is a citywide cleanup. So I encourage everybody to get their friends, their family, their enemies, get out there and volunteer, be at the chamber May 21st and help clean up the city. So let's show some pride in our city and get some people out there. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor,
Councilman Shuttrin.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Shuttrin, seconded by Councilman Berg. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.